Another interesting find here at the Pick Your Own Parts yard in Phoenix, Arizona. This is a 1973 Galaxie 500, and it's a two-door. So most of these 70s Galaxies, these big cars would have been four doors, but this is a two-door. It's a Galaxie 500. The engine is long gone, and there's no emissions tag or anything like that to tell us what would have been here. But the Galaxie, as a large car in Ford's lineup, the base engine would have been a 351, and then you could have gotten a 400, a 429, or a 460 in this car in 1973. But likely fairly well optioned, and given that it's a Galaxie 500, which is a higher trim level, you've got power brakes, air conditioning, or at least the remains of it, likely power steering as well. A very big car, very long car, pretty straight. This green mintish color seems to be original. As we look in here, we don't see any of the telltale signs of the paint kind of changing color. You can see way down there at the bottom by the trans tunnel, still seems to be this mint green, or at least the faded light green that we see here. Portal windows, looks like it had a vinyl top given the trim and the difference in color here between the roof and the body. We've got the roll down rear passenger windows here in the back, little small ones that create, rather than a sedan look, you've got the ability to have sort of both windows down with no B pillar in between, although you do have a fairly large area here in the back between the end of this window and the rear window, and these portal windows likely would have not provided very much visibility, but still kind of a hardtop effect here in terms of rolling both these windows down. Interior is pretty well thrashed. It is a junkyard car after all. It is there, so you certainly could have these seats recovered if you were going to go out and claim this car. And it looks like, we can't really tell whether that rolled over or not, but it looks like it's got, at least from what we can see here, a little over 50,000 miles on the odometer, so potentially a fairly low mileage car when it came here, although that certainly could be 152 or 252. It's really sort of hard to tell. But the interior fairly well thrashed, certainly in need of a complete resto if someone who was going to do that. The dash, for example, completely missing, as is the package shelf in the back, and the seats are pretty well thrashed. Big long bench seat in the front, pretty typical for these big cars, the large full-size cars from Ford at this time. But a lot of old school touches like these chrome handles, a lot of chrome window trim, so not the era of the black plastic trim that would come later. The intake seems to be in the trunk, so it looks like it was born a 2-barrel, so probably a 351, not one of the higher performance engines, but certainly a very, very large trunk. And this being Arizona, a pretty rust-free car. There's a little bit of surface rust on the sides, but certainly not the super cancer you see in other areas. The trunk floors, for example, look to be in pretty good shape, and just incredible amounts of room. That area, that large area right there that you can see between the back of the back seat and the opening of the trunk here would have been where the full-size spare sat. So you would have had all this area in here for luggage and storage. So big family cars meant for the classic American road trip. But as we see, pretty straight car. It hasn't been chopped up, but missing a lot of glass. An interior that's pretty well thrashed, and of course that big Ford power plant is long gone. What a pretty cool find here in the Pick Your Own Parts yards, a 73 Ford Galaxie 500. If you like this video, be sure to click that like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.